Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our presentation titled Cooperative Analysis of OPM and GRIP as subjects of international law. We are a group of 5 who will present this topic systematically. First, let us understand the concept of a subject of international law. In international law, a subject is an entity that possesses right and obligation under international law and has the legal capacity to bring claims or be held accountable. Additionally, sovereign states are the primary subject. However, international organizations, individuals, and under certain conditions, national liberation movement can also be considered one of the core legal foundation of this recognition is the right to self-determination as enshrined in Article 1 of the UN Charter. And then in the Indonesian context, two organizations are relevant for comparison: the OPM, Free Papua Movement, and the GRIP, Progressive Indonesia People Movement. Both have political orientation, but their status under international law is vastly different. Let's explore this in more depth in the next section.
OPM, or the Free Papua Movement, is a separatist group aiming for seceded from Indonesia and established independent states of West Papua. Under international law, OPM has the potential to be considered a subject of international law if it meets the criteria of a national liberation movement or a party in a non-international armed conflict. According to the 1949 Geneva Convention, especially Common Article 3, non-state actor involvement in armed conflict may bear legal responsibilities, thus opening the door for limited connection as a legal subject. However, OPM has not been formally recognized by the United Nations or any states as a legitimate national liberation movement. Elements that could strengthen its status include control over certain territory, a clear chain of command and leadership, capacity to engage in negotiation, complicate with the law of war, and as of now, Indonesia and the most of the international community continue to regard OPM as an international separatist group without international legal personality. However, from a legal perspective, it remains to be examined whether OPM could eventually be considered a limited subject of international law.
In contrast, GRIP, Progressive Indonesia People Movement, is a domestic civil society organization of NGO, focused on political and social reforms within the framework of the Indonesian state. GRIP is governed by national law, including Law Number 17 of 2013 on mass organization in Indonesia. Under international law, GRIP is not subject due to the following reasons: it does not engage in international relations. It has no corporate authority. It is not involved in any armed struggle. It is not recognized by any international institution such of the UN. GRIP is a purely domestic actor. It exists under the jurisdiction of Indonesian national law and has no international legal standing. Therefore, unlike OPM, cannot be read on classic field within the framework of international law. It remains outside the scope of global legal regulation.
Reviewing their profile, let us compare OPM and GRIP directly in terms of their standing in international law. First, OPM has a theoretical potential to be considered a subject of international law. It is treated as a liberation movement or as a non-state actor in armed conflict or the benefit confidential. In contrast, reflects all the characteristics required for such recognition. No armed conflict, no call for independence, no relation with international bodies. According to international legal doctrine, GRIP is a domestic, non-state actor that operates only within the national framework. Thus, in legal terms, OPM might regularly qualify for limited status under international humanitarian law. GRIP clearly falls outside the realm of international legal personality. This comparison demonstrates the only entities with international impact on recognition have the potential to be considered legal subject in the international system. Thank you.
Based on the previous explanation, we can consider key conclusions. First, not all organizations are member can be as subject of international law, recognized on separate legitimate and international participation. Second, OPM by a gray area. It is not recognized as a state or as a full international legal subject, but under international humanitarian law, it could potentially be considered a party in an internal conflict. Based on the previous explanation, we can draw several key conclusions. First, not all organizations or movements can be regarded as subject of international law, recognized weapon of sovereign legitimacy and international participation. Second, OPM occupy a gray area. It is not recognized as a state or as a full international legal subject, but under international humanitarian law, it could potentially be considered a party in an internal conflict. Third, Greek remains purely national in scope. Its activity and its size existence are bound into Indonesian law without any involvement in international matters. It is complex study underline the importance of distinguishing between domestic organization and international legal actor, especially when discussing the application of international law. That